Hi everyone, it's Danny. Okay, today I'm going to be answering some of the questions that you guys sent. There are those comments that I cannot reply to, and it has to do with the privacy settings you set on G+. So if you see yourself in this video or I've never replied to you with a comment, no matter how many comments you left, it has to do with your G+ settings. So check the description of this video and you will learn how to set up your account so I can reply to you. If you don't set up your account, I will never be able to reply to you. Nobody will ever be able to reply to you unless they belong to your circle of friends. Alrighty, let's get to the questions. Okay, so the first comments come from Hilda Rivera, and she's saying that she just purchased an orchid Mauna Loa and she doesn't know exactly what to do with it. I have to tell you, I don't know what this orchid is. I've googled it. It seems to be either a Vanda, either a Dendrobium, either something totally different. So I don't know what to tell you because I don't know what orchid it is. So do let me know if it's a Phalaenopsis or a Dendrobium or a Vanda or what it is, and I'll be able to help you more. Okay, the next question regards Vanda orchids. You just purchased some orchids that came in coconut fiber. Is it the same as coconut husk? Well, as far as I know, not really. Coconut fiber is made out of strings. Also, it can be that peat mossy thing, I'm not really sure, while coconut husk comes in the form of chunky pieces. And you're also asking how you should take care of your Vandas. Well, I do have a video, it's a very old video, on how to take care of Vandas. I'll share a link on the screen right now, but I will redo this video because I have a better camera now and I have more things to tell you. But anyway, you can click the annotation on the screen and you can watch the video that I made on Vanda care. Okay, the next question comes from Mario, and he's asking if I can make a video about my Nepenthes carnivorous plant. Well, I'm not the expert. All I can say is that I managed to keep them alive, but I'm really not the expert. I will share a link on the screen right now to Brad's greenhouse. He has a lot of carnivorous plants, including Nepenthes, and I think you'll find more useful information in his videos. All I can say is that I water them with distilled water. I do not use mineral water or tap water. They really don't like water with mineral content. Also, whenever I see that the soil is almost dry, I give them a good water. And from time to time, I catch a fly and I just put it in the pitcher. And that's about it. I don't fertilize at all. Okay, the next question comes from Gabriel, and he's asking me if Dendrobium Phalaenopsis orchids need a winter rest. No, they don't. Dendrobium Phalaenopsis type or bigibbum type don't require a winter rest to rebloom. They practically require the same conditions throughout the year. Of course, if your winter time is slightly colder, you might want to watch watering. You might have to water less frequent than in summertime. Okay, the next question comes from DC McFerrin. Well, it's a long question, but practically you're asking me if you did wrong by watering your orchids with ice cubes. And yeah, you kind of did. It's a good thing you stopped. As you're mentioning here, it's a good thing that you switched to lukewarm water, tap water. It's okay. And about the leaves that came off, I'm not sure exactly what orchid you are referring to here, but if you are referring to a Phalaenopsis orchid and the bottom leaves have yellowed and fell off, this is practically normal. From time to time, Phalaenopsis orchids do regenerate their leaves. As long as new leaves are growing, the bottom leaves will fall off from time to time. So I believe there's nothing to worry. Okay, the next question comes from Maximilian, and he's asking me if because of fertilizer you can obtain a brown crust on the surface roots. And the answer is yes, I had it. It's either from fertilizer or from hard water, so you might want to check your water supply or the water you use. Usually you will get a white crust, but if the roots are slightly burnt, you will get a brown crust. Okay, the next question comes from Luke, and he's asking me how do I obtain a keiki? Well, you don't really obtain a keiki. It really depends on the type of orchid you have and on its genetics and so on. If you're referring to Phalaenopsis orchids, there is such a thing as keiki paste. You can Google it and you can find it on Amazon or eBay. But this keiki paste doesn't really work all the time. Instead of a keiki, you might get a secondary branch. And if you use too much paste, or I don't know, the orchid just feels like it, it's gotta grow a mutated thingy, whether it's a monster flower spike or a monster keiki. Okay, next question comes from Hilda Rivera again, and she's asking me how do I keep the pseudobulbs of an orchid so plump? Well, there's no magic to it. Usually, pseudobulbs of orchids should be plump if they have a decent root system and you keep your orchid hydrated enough. They store moisture, so whenever there is a lack of moisture, they will get wrinkly. This is a lengthy discussion, but it practically boils down to the orchid being hydrated. There's no magic to it. Okay, the next question comes from Harshi, and he is asking me if Vanda orchids should be hung. Well, first of all, a mature Vanda can be grown either hanging, bare-rooted, either in a glass vase, either in a very coarse and ventilated media. And I do have a video in which I pot up a sort of a Vandaceous orchid, and you can find the link on the screen right now. Now, you're also mentioning that you have some, what I presume are Vandas, which are about 1 inch tall. Well, these are seedlings, and I'm sorry to tell you, you have a lot of years to wait in front of you until you will have a flower spike from them. But it's okay, it's a very rewarding process if you have the patience, but I would keep them in media because they do need a lot of moisture at this point. So if you hang them, you might not be able to cope with watering. So right now I would keep them in media, try to keep them ventilated, aerated, but that amount of media should provide enough moisture for the roots to properly grow and the orchid being properly hydrated. So for now, no, I wouldn't keep them hanging. Okay, next question comes from Arvinas, and you're asking me about sunburn. What you can do if an orchid has a sunburned leaf. Well, first of all, remove it from the place where you keep it because it's obviously not to its liking. It has too much light. And regarding the leaf, if it's not all affected, you can let it be because the rest of the tissue, which is healthy, will practically perform normally. If the sunburn is on the tip, you can cut the tip if you don't like the looks of things, but if it's smack in the middle of the leaf, just let it be and you have to cope with it. It's better to have more leaves than chopped leaves, if you get what I mean. Also, you're asking me about an Oncidium intergenetic, aka Cambria. It appears to have yellowish leaves. Well, it depends. I'm not sure which type of Oncidium intergeneric you have, but usually if they're very yellow, it might be that you're keeping your orchid in too much light, too much sunlight. So do check your growing space. Maybe this orchid receives too much light than it should. If this is the case, just move it to a shadier location and it should be fine. In some cases, it might mean a nutrient deficiency, but I have a suspicion you don't really have this plant for many years. If you do and you never fertilized, this might be a cause as well. Okay, the next question comes from Emmanuel, and he's asking if it's a rule that the roots turn green when they need water. First of all, no, it's the other way around. When they're silvery, they require water, and when they turn green, they are usually soaked with water. It's not a rule for all orchids, but most orchids usually do this, particularly Phalaenopsis and Vanda orchids, but most orchids will usually do this, even Oncidiums and Cattleyas, although to a lower extent than a Phalaenopsis. Usually when you grow orchids in a transparent pot and they get to photosynthesize, they will turn green. If, however, you keep your orchids in a ceramic pot or a dark colored pot, this will not happen because the roots did not photosynthesize, thus they're not green. Okay, the next question and last question comes from Shidal, and they are asking if it's okay for some leaves of Phalaenopsis orchids to go yellow. Yes, I did answer to a different question regarding this. The bottom set of leaves usually go yellow and dry, and this is part of the regeneration of the orchid. It's okay. If you have new leaf growth from the top, also the root system is okay, you really shouldn't worry about it. If, however, more than 2 leaves start to yellow, it's a question mark, and you should just check the stem of the orchid and also the crown for crown rot or stem rot. Okay, so these are the questions for today. I will be making these types of videos more often because I do get a lot of questions that I cannot reply to. So again, if you see yourself in this video, or I've never ever replied to you in any way, although you left me a lot of comments, do check the description of this video because most probably it has to do with your settings. Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos from me, just subscribe to my channel. I post on a daily basis. Also, feel free to leave me comments, suggestions, questions in the comment section below, but make sure that I can reply to them. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchidnature.com, where you will find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And if you click on the right side of your screen, you'll watch another orchid video. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye!